adverse childhood experiences. See, this is what we want to tell you today. Two out of three adults experience one ACE growing up, and one out of six adults experience four or five ACEs growing up. And in the state of Oklahoma, almost 4 out of 10 kids experience ACE. So the question that me and Dr. Ford have for you today on this episode: who's in charge of your life? Is it your conscious mind, or is it ACE running your life? See, because it's ACE running your money still, it's ACE running your relationships, it's ACE running your identity. So in this episode today, we're going to answer that question for you to show you what ACE looks like in real life, and if it's still running your life, and then what you can do to take your power back. Welcome back to another episode. This is season 2, good people. Season 2 of Soul Truth Sunday. Conversations with my good friend, Dr. Larry Ford. He's not a guest no more. He's a co-host, baby. This is the co-host. Listen, Dr. Larry Ford has been a staple in the community for almost 30 years. Brain mapping, neurofeedback, just regular counseling, trauma care needs, whatever you need, he got you. H2GY.com. So look him up, and that's his handle too on Facebook. Welcome, my guest, my good friend, to the show again, Dr. Larry Ford.
How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, I've been excited about this conversation today. Oh, ACE, averse childhood experiences. So listen, good people, this is season 2. If you didn't check out season 1, go check out season 1. It got his own playlist. Now we on season 2. And we open it up with this conversation today. So we just gonna jump right in. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready? You know how we do it, baby.
Yeah.
Ready? So listen, man. ACE. Put it in your own words. Put it in your own words. So let's just jump into that right now. What is ACE? How would you describe ACE?
ACE, so adverse childhood experiences. So adverse childhood experiences before an individual is 18. And I want to give some of the background about ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. And we'll send it's a video that we can send at the end.
Yeah. I'm going to tag all that in at the end, the video. Also, Dr. Ford, this clinical stuff, baby, only on the Dirty BU network. Can you see this? We're going to give you the ACE questionnaire at the end. So make sure you stay tuned for that. All right, go ahead, Dr. Ford. I didn't mean to...
Oh, you're good. So around 1998, the Center for Disease Control in California, Kaiser Permanente, which is a healthcare organization, got together and they did some research over 17,000 individuals, which was a lot of individuals, because they were recognizing some similarities in health statistics and health outcomes, and they just started doing research. And what they found is ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, have significant impacts on your adult life. But this is the key. It happens during the first 18 years of life. So the ACE questionnaire is really a questionnaire. Adverse childhood experience is a questionnaire that goes over really 3 categories. Emotional abuse.
Okay.
So physical abuse, neglect, and household dysfunction.
Okay.
Meaning if you have a parent or significant other that has a history of mental illness, if drugs are being used in the home, is alcohol being used in the home, was the child physically abused, sexually abused? So, and there's 10 questions that comes up. And what ACEs are, what determines ACE is what has potentially happened in the child's life, because we're talking about the first 18 years. So it's a potential for harmful experience or traumatic experiences in the child's life during the first 18 years. And then I have to also talk about trauma and get people to understand trauma, because there's a lot of talk about trauma, especially in today's world.
Yeah.
But what trauma really is the biological response to an event. It's not the actual event, it's how your body responds to that event. And that can remain lingering on months, days, years.
So trauma is the response. So trauma is not the actual experience. It's like a wound. So would you say, so let me classify like this. Let me simplify like this. In my mind, you know how my mind works. You know, we teammates, you know that thing up. So would you say trauma is like a flesh wound that basically it wounds your nervous system, your psyche, and your emotional state, right? And if not healed properly, that's what keeps getting triggered in your adult life. Like a flesh wound, if you just let a deep flesh wound heal by itself, it's gonna get infected. It might scab over, but it never heals. It's still sensitive to touch because the scar tissue. So would you say trauma is more like a deep wound in your nervous system, psyche, in your emotional state?
It's more of it's contingent because it's more about how your body responds to the event. So that's what happened.
Okay,
The
got you.
wound.
The wound.
But the event is what caused the wound.
Got you.
So it's more so the wound and how your body responds to the event that happened.
Because everybody's body responds
Yeah,
differently.
exactly.
So like you can cut something, but your body's gonna respond to that cut.
Yeah.
Got you. So just to continue with the ACE on that note. So what are some things? So I like to tell the community, like he said, just to kind of touch on the ACE. So it's about recognizing the patterns, right? So as your adult life, as you get older, if you have experienced, some adverse childhood experiences growing up, then to change those things is to recognize the pattern. So kind of give the community what does that look like as an adult? Like what are some of the symptoms or some of the patterns as an adult that come out if you have experienced ACE growing up?
Relationships. I would begin to I would have to begin to understand the relationships of the individual.
Okay.
The relationships they have at first starting at home.
Okay.
The relationships they have in the community, relationships in work, interpersonal relationships, because that determines that helps give a better understanding and picture of how they experience in life.
Okay.
Because with ACE, we're talking about ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, but we have to understand when brain development. And remember, I always say this: the brain develops in the environment that you're exposed to, right? So we have to, and that's like cliche for me to say, but what I'm really saying is, when that brain was developing, was the child safe?
Okay.
Did the child develop healthy attachments, relationships in the home? What was the brain exposed to? Because the brain heals, the brain develops from the bottom up.
Okay.
Right. So we have to understand that and understand the different areas of the brain. And one of the areas of the brain that I'm talking about is the amygdala.
Yep.
Also known as the smoke detector of the brain, also where fight or flight happens.
Kind of go into that a little bit, kind of slow it down on that and kind of explain the amygdala, the prefrontal lobe, the hippocampus, kind of explain all that, the vagus nerve, how all that runs.
So the amygdalas, you can understand the amygdala is the smoke detector of the brain, fight or flight, and there's a great time and reason and purpose for the amygdala. You also talked about the frontal lobe, which is actually one of the last parts of a brain to develop.
Okay.
But see, what happens is in trauma and stress and things of that nature, and then even with what we say to ourselves, we ignite the amygdala when we should be igniting our frontal lobe.
Oh, wow.
And
Talk about
because we have to understand this, if I'm using my amygdala, there's no need for frontal lobe use. Frontal lobe is about thinking and processing.
Okay.
And make executive function and making good decisions and making decisions, but you need time to make those decisions. If I'm utilizing the amygdala, it's about reacting. But let's talk about that a little bit further. If I need to react, I also need an increased heart rate. I also need to increase blood pressure. I also need to increase respiratory rate. Right? That's where the trauma comes in.
Got you.
The people who experience trauma. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the physiological feeling in the body. And a lot of times they're That's what they have to be aware of and understand. It's not so much because you may never get in that event or that that trauma particularly that happened, but your body will give you the signs.
Got
So
you.
when we talk about identifying and being aware, it's more so about being aware of what your body is telling you and how your body is responding or reacting. Because if you don't understand that, you'll miss the mark. If you don't recognize, and it's really self-awareness, because the more self-aware we are, the better we're going to be as human beings. Because you have to be self-aware. Like if somebody walks in the room, or if the door closes, or it could be nearly anything. It's just about the reaction to the body, and your body is completely different than mine. So your triggers, quote unquote, can be completely different than mine for the same exact situation or environment that we're in.
Because our experiences, like you
Yes.
said, because how I grew up, how you grew up, how
Yes.
everybody grew up is different. So what I'm hearing you say is what I heard you say that jumped out to me. It's a it's a it's a biological reaction, right? Trauma in the body, right? So you said one of the signs as an adult that you might have experienced some ACEs growing up is relationships are kind of unstable or rocky, unhealthy relationships. So talk a little bit about that. So basically, if you can feel that in your body, so what I hear you saying is, because if you grew up around ACEs, when you get into, say you saw unhealthy relationships growing up, so now you're an adult, every relationship is going to mirror that relationship that you saw.
Well, not necessarily mirror, but some of those responses are experiences. Say somebody walked out, say parents were separated or divorced, and you saw that growing up as a child. Now you may develop a sense of abandonment or fear of abandonment.
Got you.
Say you're in a relationship now and you don't speak to the person for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
That's where the physiological response comes in. That's where the anxiety can come in. That's where the thoughts, you can lose control of your thoughts and start having negative cognitions and negative thoughts about um, they're not home yet, or they're not coming home, and then it can cause or lead to anxiety.
So that's the story that I always
Yeah,
talk about when the
yeah.
amygdala,
Mm-hmm.
a nice the
Mm-hmm.
story. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, you in a relationship with your partner, you call them, they don't respond right away. Instantly, the story ignites because you grew up in
Yeah.
ACE experiences of abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
Now the story ignites. Oh, now they about to walk out on me. No, they busy. They at work. They
Yeah.
doing something. But so is that what I'm hearing you
Yeah,
say? Like
yeah,
the
and that,
story
and that's where
plays.
the awareness comes in, and that's where the you being able to recognize the negative cognitions, being able to recognize the anxiety, being able to recognize the increased heart rate. That's where you have to understand it from that end, from that perspective.
Wow, I like that. I like that. So would it be safe to say that sometimes we look at people's behavior, but we don't really understand the patterns that's really driving it, because the behavior is really not the pattern.
Exactly.
Would that be safe to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, so this is what I want you to see before we get to the next point, good people. Most behaviors are attempts to solve a problem the nervous system never learned another way to solve. Would that be correct in saying, like, most people's like addictive behaviors or like abusive behaviors, or really their nervous system is trying to solve something that they didn't get to see solved growing up? The experience of, if they had an ACE experience, a first childhood experience, so now they're an adult, right? And so now their conscious mind knows better.
Well, it's contingent because the brain develops in the environment that it's exposed to. So
Slow that down. Okay, slow that down. So now I'm adult. So it's contingent. So my brain might not know better.
No. If I grew up learning how to put my shoes on the wrong feet, and all I've ever seen is to have my shoes on the wrong feet, just because I've become an adult, just because I'm 18, 20, 22, 25, or 30, doesn't mean I naturally understand how to put my shoes on the right feet.
Wow.
If I don't never recognize and become aware that my shoes are actually on the wrong feet, then I never change. And that comes with experience, and then recognizing the patterns of behavior, like you say, and then say, there's something wrong with this picture,
Mm.
with this frame
Yeah.
of the picture,
Yeah.
because the picture, like you see in the back, the picture is a canvas of a multitude of things. We have to be willing to understand the frame,
Yes. Yes.
this area of the picture, because that's
Mm.
where the problem can be.
Got you. I got that.
But
Makes
it
sense.
affects the whole
The
picture.
whole picture. I like that. I like that. So talk about, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but kind of break down a little bit more about ACE and trauma, like the difference between just an experience that you might have, that you could carry in
ACE,
an actual traumatic experience.
Yeah, so ACE is essentially 10 questions of things that potentially could have happened or did happen to an individual within their first 18 years of life.
Okay.
And then trauma and those experiences, if you've experienced ACEs, those experiences are going to have some type of traumatic effect on you.
Got you.
Trauma is essentially the way a situation that happened, and the trauma is how your body responded to the event that actually happened.
Okay, got you. So then
they do overlap.
Got
the
you.
two do overlap.
So they do overlap. So an experience could be a traumatic, or it could just be an experience, but they kind of overlap a little bit.
Yeah.
So talk about the healing. I know we touched on that last week. So basically, I always say this: healing doesn't erase the scar. Healing just removes the pain attached to it, right? So talk a little bit about the healing process. Then when people start to recognize that, when people start to recognize that the frame is out of. So because most people think healing is like you never have an outdated frame no more. You know what I'm saying? Or you never get triggered. So just talk a little bit about that healing process and that journey. Once you do recognize that, what is some things that people are going to feel when they start to recognize that the frame is not in play?
Yeah. Well, you have to start with again, self-awareness and identifying the pattern. I'm sorry. You have to be able to identify the pattern, because the pattern is what you describe are the behaviors, right? You have to begin to identify the problem, the pattern of the behaviors, which is in most cases the problem. Every time A happens, then you do B, which turns into C. Every time this situation's happen, you respond this way, and this is the end result, right?
Got you.
But you have to identify the trigger, right? And the trigger isn't always, the trigger could be anything. The trigger could be a closed door, a lack of response, or somebody who doesn't respond to a text message, or somebody walks by you and don't speak or say hi. The trigger could be anything. So it's important to recognize the trigger, and that's where the awareness comes in.
Got you.
The third step 3 is recognize what happens in the body. Like what I was talking about earlier. Does your heart rate increase? Do your cheeks turn red? Do you begin to have headaches? Stress is going to stress in the body is designed to alert you that something is going wrong. That's outside of your normal conditions.
Say that real slow again. Stress in the body
is designed to alert you that something is going wrong that's not designed in your body.
So it's just data.
Yeah.
Information that we really have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Self-awareness, like you always say. Yeah. The self-awareness part. So
the final step though is, and you've talked about this earlier, and I say it this way: you have to recognize and understand the past is no longer the present, and separate the two.
Got you. Story from facts. I got so you hear me talk about the first 7 years. You said ACE goes up all the way to the
first 18 years, because that's brain development. The normally on average it takes about 25 years for the brain to fully develop.
Okay.
So the first 18 years are extremely important. The first 3 years of an individual's life is the most important. That's where healthy relationships are formed. That's where nurturing and bonding is developed. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Healthy attachments are developed, and then going into that 7 years is what you always talk about.
Yeah. See, so it all ties in together
Yeah.
from the first 3 to 7, and then all the way up to 18. Because, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, the brain is not fully developed until 25 years old,
Exactly.
right? So it develops
Mm-hmm.
from the bottom up. So yeah, man. As we get up out of here, just name off some of the questions though that you can on the questionnaire. We're gonna pin that in the comments for you guys, but we just want to show you some of these questions. Dr. Ford just gave you some clinical steps that you can do, but how do you know if ACE is still controlling your life? Right, that's the whole point of this
Are you
episode.
still
Are you
experiencing effects of
affects
having
your ACE?
yeah,
Yeah,
effects
yeah.
from having
That's it.
ACEs?
That's
Yeah.
it. Is your conscious mind, like we started earlier in the show, who's in charge? Are the effects of ACE still running your money decisions, your relationships decisions, because you keep doing the same thing? Or are you going to slow yourself down and consciously decide today to make a different decision to change your life? So these are just some of the questions Dr. Ford is going to read all, and he can just kind of go over the
Yeah,
questionnaire with
and
you.
these are just very
Yeah.
direct. I mean, like I said, this was established in 1998 by the CDC and Kaiser Permanente out in California, and these were researched by over 17,000 people. And I'll go over some statistics that
Yeah.
I talk about in the state of Oklahoma. But this is one of the questions: were your parents ever separated or divorced? Um, did you live with anyone who had a problem in the household, drinking or use street drugs? Was a household member depressed, mentally ill, or did a household member ever attempt suicide? Did a parent or other adult in the home swear at you, insult you, or push you down, or humiliate you, or act in a way that you thought you may be physically hurt? And again, remember at the beginning, I talked about abuse, neglect, household dysfunction. All of this is critical because this is when the brain is developing. So if just imagine the child that saw these growing up. Imagine the child that has 3 or 4 of these and they're not even 18. This is when you really look at these questions and understand these questions, this would be a lot for me and you to experience at our age.
Yes.
So imagine what a 7-year-old or 8-year-old would see and how they would react or respond. And
So
you
what
see
I
it a
hear you
lot, and you
saying,
see it a lot in school. You know, years ago, nearly not everybody, but a lot of kids, we call it the ADHD crisis. Many individuals thought children were developing ADHD and had high rates of ADHD. It was really adverse childhood events. And that's the way their body was responding to what was going on, what they were exposed to, and what they saw growing up as a child.
Yeah. See, I always say that's why I got into work that I do. I love when people help children, but when you help a child, they still got to go home to that environment. And if the parents is not helped, then it's just defeating the purpose,
Yeah.
like you said. So
The farmer, I call the parents the farmer.
farmer, yeah. So I love it. So what I hear you say with these questions, what I'm hearing you say, we like to translate. That's one of my gifts. So what I hear you say, if a child or your child is growing up in an environment where hollering and screaming is normal, then they're probably going to be doing that every other environment that
Well,
they go to, pretty much.
there's a higher probability
Really, that they're
that
going to.
that's how they would learn to communicate. But also, you have to remember if a child is hearing yelling and screaming or abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, then the child learns because the first developmental stage is trust versus mistrust. So the child then learns that I'm not safe in this environment and I can't trust this environment. And that immediately makes the body um introduce stress responses.
Okay, so say that child grows up in that, and now that same child is an adult. So it acts out in different ways now. So how would that same experience look in an adult?
Well, they one way is they can be startled, on edge all the time, always hyper focused and hyper reactive and paying attention to their environment and surroundings. Imagine if you grew up in an environment that was not safe, and you go in another environment, but you grew up in an environment that was not safe. If I put you in another environment, you will still believe that you're not safe, even though this could be the safest that you have ever been in your life.
Wow.
But you're not familiar with safe. You're familiar with being unsafe.
Yeah. Wow.
So if you're unsafe, you have increased heart rate, increased blood pressure. Anxiety is high.
Yeah. So that's the activated nervous system that you always hear me talk about, the fight or flight. Okay, so break that down from a money perspective. Now you're a child. You grow up in a household where money's not really talked about a lot, where you see money struggles a lot, where you see, poverty struggles, basically. Now, as an adult, how does that look in an adult's life coming from those type of things?
Oh, those are stressors.
Yeah,
those are stressors, and stressors have a negative effect on the body over time. Yeah, those are stressors. Yeah.
So that applies in every area, not just relationships. It can be money, it can be identity. If you grew up in a household to where you wasn't really encouraged to be who you was, where you was always talked down upon or called names, now as an adult, you might still suffer with identity or confidence.
Yeah, identity crisis, confidence, self-esteem, self-worth, value.
Even though you driving it, living in it, vacationing to it. We talked about this on the last show. The numbers are alarming. Over half of Americans are emotionally disconnected. Would you say that's kind of, you can tie that into ACE, childhood experiences a little bit?
Well, that's where a lot of things begin to happen, because, man, we just have to understand more and more about children, understanding the first years of life and how that can affect us later on in life. And then another thing in life that we always have to do is continue to evolve as human beings. But you can only, here I go again, you can only evolve. You can't evolve without self-awareness and the ability to regulate. We didn't get to talk about resilience and
talk about it. Hey, we on here. This the show. Talk about it. Let's talk about resilience.
Because resilience is a real situation too. Resiliency, and even me, doing this for a very long time, essentially all of my adulthood life, resiliency is a tool that has to be practiced to get sharpened. And then you have to understand that everybody's resilience is different.
Okay.
Everybody's resiliency tools are different. And resiliency is acquired from experiences.
I like
so
that.
The more experience, so understand it. You have to go through experience to develop resiliency. The more experiences, the higher probability to develop resiliency.
Okay.
No experience, no resiliency.
Yeah.
And we don't get to experience. We don't get to choose the experience in all situations or cases.
True. That's true.
So there's times where we're placed in situations.
And then if we haven't built that resilience,
and that's where the people around you, especially at a young age, that's where the people around you, the parents, your support systems, the schools, the churches, or places in the community you go, that's where, because it doesn't always have to come from within the home, but out of the home
is also,
that's
why environments really matter. So growing up, we've heard that a lot. Now we almost say, 50 environments really do matter.
Yeah, the saying is, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes that same exact village, not the same exact village, but it also takes a village to keep them healthy as well. Because we're good at saying the first part, it takes a village to raise a child. But what about when the child is not an adult? It still takes a village. The people in the community.
Yeah. So talk about a little bit about, as we get up out here and close, man. Talk a little bit about the numbers that you're seeing just here in the state of Oklahoma, man. Like I said, Dr. Ford is a pillar in the community, good people. He's been doing this work for almost 30 years. I seen him when he first started the journey. Now, 30 years later, man, we in studio, baby. He got it all. But Oklahoma has some alarming numbers. So he's part of the solution. So just talk about those numbers here in the state of Oklahoma.
This is from my research from doing the show and preparing for the show. So and this is record. You guys can look these up if you want. 22% of Oklahomans report 4 or more ACEs, which is alarming, right? 37% of high school students surveyed in the last 3 years reported 4 or more ACEs. 43% of Oklahoma female high school students reported 4 or more ACEs, right?
Wow.
These are experiences that are having effects on our communities. 1 out of 10 Oklahoma children has experienced a parent being incarcerated.
1 out of, you said 1 out of
10.
10. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, nearly 300,000 Oklahomans face substance use disorder each year.
ACEs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. See, so these numbers are very, and that's just in the state of Oklahoma. Now think about that nationally. Bring that to where you are right now. I know we don't like to think about it. When we was preparing for the show, when Dr. Ford gave me the ACE questionnaire, what did I tell you when I was reading? Man, some of these, my kids. Look, that's just real good, people. We're trying to show you the real truth about things that are really happening, that are crises that people are not talking about, and how to identify if those things are still affecting you or you're passing those down to your children, and then how to change it, how to change your lineage, how to change the trajectory of where your lineage is going, right? Because just because you start somewhere doesn't mean you got to finish there. So this is what this Soul Truth Sunday conversation is all about with me and my friend Dr. Ford. Drop your comments in the drop your questions in the comment section, statement, whatever it is. We just want to show you, is ACE still controlling or influencing your thoughts, your money, your relationships? Are you passing down ACE experiences, right? And if so, this is the tools that we're going to give you, and we've already gave you, to not pass those down, to break those habits, to break those curses, as people say, so you can go forward and push your lineage into another whole nother different direction. So as we get up out of here, man, anything else you want to say about this? Some last tips that you can give the community? You already gave them a lot of good tools.
The only thing I'm gonna say is this: ACE do increase the risk of situations happening to you in your life, but they do not determine the destiny.
Woo! Slow that down. Say it one more time.
ACEs do increase the risk, but they don't determine the destiny.
They don't determine your destiny, good people, man. So today we gave you these tools. We gave you what ACE was. We showed you how it shows up in your everyday life. Dr. Ford gave you clinical. I see my boo thing. Shout out, great episode. I definitely had. Okay, I see you. Shout out to my boo thing for watching the show, tuning in. But yeah, in this episode, man, we gave y'all the sauce. This is clinical, right? And then this questionnaire, we're going to download this. You're going to be able to get this questionnaire on the episode. I'm going to pin the video that Dr. Ford is talking about to the episode. So listen, we want you to take this information and be honest with yourself. Right? Just like I had to be when I was reading the questionnaire, like, woo, made me think about some things, you know, my tone, how am I delivering my messages to my boys, right? How am I showing up? What am I showing them? So this episode, man, that's what it was all about. ACE and who's in charge of your life right now. So anything else? You know where to find Dr. Ford, h2gy.com. Listen. He's no longer a guest, good people. This is my co-host, and this is season 2. Listen, go check out season 1. Season 1 is complete. We got that done. It's in its own playlist. This is season 2, so you can tune in every first Sunday. We're going to be in clinic, and we're going to be talking about the things that's going to help you change your life, right? So what topics do you want to hear about? Hit us up. This is clinical information. Hit us up. We'll come on here. We'll have a live discussion about this, because our whole goal is to help you get healthy from the inside out. Right? Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of it. Your whole man, and not just one part of it. So If you don't got no more questions, we ain't got nothing else to say. Listen, happy Sunday to you. This is season 2 of episode 1 of Soul Truth Sunday. Conversations with Dr. Larry Ford. So until next month, every first Sunday, listen, have a great day. Happy Sunday to you, good people.
See.
And remember, aces, they may affect how you was raised, but they don't have to determine your destiny. Until next time, y'all have a great Sunday.